Okay, good morning. Thanks for joining us this morning. We're going to go ahead and get started. So today, I'm Kyle Smith. I'm your host. I'm the Inside Sales Manager here at Enertech, and your presenter today is actually Steve Smith, Enertech CEO and Founder. So happening now, November 22nd at the kitchen table, Secrets to Success is our webinar for today. And then next week, we have a residential outlook with GeoFlow on pressurized versus non-pressurized flow centers. And then we're also going to be doing a release of the new MP Plus Flow Center from GeoFlow, which is a redesigned product. And then on December 7th, with a commercial outlook, we're going to be working with swept braze plate heat exchangers. And then on the 14th, again with GeoFlow on maximizing efficiencies for commercial geothermal systems. A frequently asked question that we receive is, will this webinar be recorded? Yes, absolutely. We'll be have that available in the next couple of days on our YouTube channel. So today, take notes. Do you have any questions? Please feel free to use the questions tab on your GoToMeeting or GoToWebinar toolbar on the right-hand side of your screen. And then if you have anything at all, please go ahead and enter those questions now or throughout the presentation, and we'll be able to answer those at the end of the presentation today and go over those. So with that, I'll go ahead and introduce Steve and let him take over.
Good morning, everyone. And again, thanks for joining us and taking the time. Today, what I'll cover is a little bit of my background, what got me started, what got Enertech started, and about business in general. And so it'll kind of mix what we're doing and things we recommend to do, and if there's if we're successful with today's webinar, if you come away with just one or two points to even think about for your own business, whether you're in distribution or contracting, whatever it is to help you with your business, then we'll consider this a success. My personal beginnings, I'll have to start and say that almost everything on this journey was an unintentional consequence. When I was in high school, I was farming. I was actually carrying my father-in-law, my future father-in-law's farm hand, and we ran 5,000 head of hogs a year, 750 acres, 50 herd of cattle, and I was just graduated, not knowing what I was going to do. A buddy of mine said, "Well, Smitty, what are you going to do this fall?" And I'm like, I don't know. I was going to get a job at Caterpillar or some job somewhere where, well, in 1978, it wasn't the greatest economy, and so I wasn't finding anything. And he said, "Well, I'm going to go to Kaskaskia College and take the HVAC program." And I'm like, "What's HVAC?" And that's how much I knew about it. I had been a motorcycle mechanic on and off for 10 years. I had worked for other farmers. I had done, you name it, what a kid does in a small rural town. And realized that Kaskaskia College had a 2-year mechanical degree program. And I did take that. And my buddy who asked me what I was doing and recommended I go, he quit after 2 weeks. And I stayed with it. I did later, in my 30s, graduate from Greenville College with a business degree. But my start was basically working locally here for heating, cooling contractors. And then that kind of morphed into contracting for Greenville College. And I worked there as a private contractor doing their heating and air conditioning, refrigeration, actually electrical work when they built the new dining commons. I took all that on as a young person. My dream job was to get on at Southwestern Electric Cooperative right here in Greenville. and I did take that position in 1983. And when I first came on, I remember back at Kaskaskia, there was about one paragraph in all the books that I looked at, that we had in our classes, maybe one paragraph on geothermal heating cooling systems, and that was really on open loop. So there was very little I knew about geothermal, even though I had an HVAC background at that point in my life. And so anyway, when I came onto the co-op in late '83, there was a member of the co-op who had just installed a geothermal system, and they had got it from somebody, another state, and had them install it. And I started studying it, and then I had another member of the co-op wanting to put one in, and that's what kind of tossed me in head first. Well, we could go on forever on this part of the story, but the short side of it is that the co-op that I was director of member services at, the rates went from about 3 cents to 12 cents. So what happened was I had people with baseboard heat, electric baseboard heat, ceiling cable heat, straight electric resistance heat, and their power bills were far exceeding their mortgage payments, and I had to try to find a way to keep them in the all-electric house. And this stuff called geothermal, this geothermal heating cooling system, seemed to be the answer. And so we started a program in 1984 that started promoting geothermal throughout the state, or throughout our service territory. Other co-ops in the state were doing the same thing. By 1987, the electric co-ops had enough business. We had really had a lot of heating cooling contractors promoting the technology, installing geothermal systems throughout most of the state, at least the lower 2/3. And our power supplier, Soil Power Cooperative, we decided to start a distribution company because the conventional distributors didn't really want to mess with geothermal. It was too strange, too different, and it was just a unique boutique product. So we started a distribution company, and I thought at that time, I thought that sounds like a perfect job for me to apply for. And in 1987, we started that company, and it was a distribution company strictly for geothermal and accessories for mainly Illinois, but did expand into other states here in the Midwest. So that's what got me started with geothermal. Kind of, our roots as far as Enertech is that through my work at, and one of my past jobs is also carrying out groceries at an IGA store. So it's always been about customer service and doing what's right for the customer. And with the electric cooperatives, it's the same thing. When you work for the members of the cooperative, the members are the customers are the members, and it's a lot about customer service. So it was knowing what was right for the customers and for the industry is what I learned at running the distribution company for Soylent. And so again, we were filling a need for a quality geothermal distributorship. We learned a lot about relationships, trust, support. Some of you listening in on the webinar today will probably have a little grin when I'm and moms start the businesses, the sons and daughters coming in that are probably my age, and now our kids, our sons and daughters coming into the business. So it's really cool to see those relationships flourish over generations. That brings trust, and naturally, what we believed in was always being supportive of our customers and of the industry. So how did we get started at Enertech? Running the distribution company for Soil and Power, and even though we were a for-profit corporation at arm's length, we still were entangled inside the electric co-op system. The manufacturer that we carried was going through some really turbulent times, going from a private company to a public company, and from about 1993 onward, things were really turbulent for the most part. And so Karen had quit work at the state of Illinois when our daughter Mallory was born. Kyle was born first, and Mallory came along in '92. But Karen had quit work. We had, decided that we could make it on one income. So anyway, all the turbulence going on, I thought, I cannot serve our customers properly. So it took 3 years for me to decide to start Enertech. And that's exactly what happened. It was never a planned deal. It's not something I wanted to do. I never felt I needed to own our own business or anything like that. It was unintentional consequences, I guess, that happened there. So was it the right move? As it turned out, it was. But it was about keeping our family happy, keeping our customers happy. There's some risks involved. But we did start at our kitchen table, our dining room table in the great room here in Greenville. We did move to Elm Street on just about a few blocks north of us here, moved to this present location in 2001. So again, our steps were focused on customer relationships, where we had began. And hopefully this is maybe ringing some bells with you about your business, whether you're a heating cooling contractor, you're a distributor. Some of these things might ring some common ground. But we kept working on the relationships, and so from there it was also about quality. The products we delivered needed to be of quality, and we were struggling with one manufacturer that we had, and felt that we were running into a brick wall with being able to control our destiny. That's where we started an OEM product called GeoComfort. That was in 2003, and so that relationship started. Another manufacturer made that product for us. And again, it was back to controlling our destiny, controlling our quality issues, things like that. So many customers had dealt with me personally through our other distribution company with the co-op, that I felt I was letting them down. And now we're running into quality issues again. And we felt the only way was to control our destiny was to manufacture our own product. And again, there was never a plan. I didn't plan to start a distribution company. I didn't plan to have an OEM. Didn't plan to have a manufacturing company. It just evolved, and I believe out of necessity. But when we did that, it required immediate action. We bought Hydron Module in 2007, and so that was, we went from about 20. We went from 22 or 3 employees, added 17 that were at Hydron, put it at around 40 employees, and within 1 year we were at 120 employees. So it was definitely all hands on deck. But it was all related around quality. We believe in quality products. We invest time. The development and research into our designs is very important. Some of you are probably on our distributor dealer advisory product council. We don't put a product out without a full team of us. We're a partnership, and so we don't believe in putting anything out there that we think is just a great idea. Our customers have to believe in that, and that's something that they want. We're not on the bleeding edge of technology. We may come up with new components, new ideas, but we try to, again, our slogan is Enertech Geothermal Made Better. We try to make geothermal better, not always trying to reach out there and get on the cliff on the very edge of technology to where we have quality or design issues. We have a very trusting team. I feel very fortunate to have the team we have at Greenville. Here in Greenville, Illinois, we have basically everything. We do everything but manufacture here: engineering, corporate, all our support teams, customer service, tech support, marketing, accounting. All teams are here. And in Mitchell, South Dakota, is where we do our manufacturing. So we started distribution in '96. We came up with the OEM GeoComfort in 2003. We acquired Hydron Module in 2007. In 2009, we were looking for a small footprint product. Tedco, many of you might remember this name. Tedco is actually the granddaddy of the ground source or geothermal heat pump. It started with a single cycle unit. It was passive cooling from water well and refrigerant cycle for heating. And it just had trouble over the years. Well, we bought the assets of Tedco in 2009. We then continued to expand in Mitchell and grew to 80,000 square feet. You can see the building there in Mitchell, South Dakota. It's an awesome building and a great factory. There's an inside view of the factory as well. It's always neat as a pin. You can eat on that floor any given day of the week. So we're always ready for customers. And please stop by and visit. Anytime you're in Greenville or Mitchell, please come by and see us. We acquired certain assets of Econar and Hydroheat. When I say certain assets, we didn't buy the companies. We just bought the some assets that made sense, and to help customers that were out there without product. Both those companies started back in the 80s. Then Enertech was acquired by NIBA Industrier out of Sweden in 2014. They came in 2011 partial, bought us out in 14. Why did we do it? We felt it was best for the long-term growth of this company. Karen and I started the company. Dan Jackson is also a partner, and it's not that we didn't have deep pockets to possibly go as far as we wanted to with this. We felt it was the right move for the long-term well-being of this company. And 2 years later, after selling all the remaining shares to NIBA, it has turned out to be a good move. We continue to operate as a family-owned business. They leave us alone. They don't get into our daily business. They allow us to operate as a family-owned business, even though they do own it now. So what sets your business apart? And kind of talk about what sets our business apart a little bit is again, we've mentioned it before, but trust, friendships, partnerships, referrals. Referrals are huge. Referrals are everything to us, and that's how we really grow our business. People that put in geothermal refer it to someone else. You install a geothermal system for someone, they tell someone else. They help grow your business. Friendships. I can't even begin to expand on that one enough. Karen and I could travel across the U.S. and Canada, and if for some reason we needed help from somebody at any given time, there's actually a friend of ours, a customer relationship friend of ours, that is probably a phone call or a stone throw away. So it's pretty cool. There's nothing like it, and so that's years and years of friendships. Employees are number one. Customer relationships are driven by your employees, and you always want to prevent turnover. You want to definitely assist in career growth. Allow training. You want to be able to make the ladder visible. We've struggled that with here at Enertech over the last 5 years, 6 years in this economy. We've not, as many of you are in, we've not been in a real growth mode. It's been fairly flatlined, which does slow that growth down. But I will back up and say that when we brought on a lot of employees in like 2007, 2008, there was a lot of growth at one time. So there was a time, and we're ready to get back to that growth now. We're ready for improved economy. Get involved in your community, or in certain groups, or wherever you can get involved. For example, the Geothermal Exchange Organization, we're a member. I'm a board member, been past chairman, also been involved with IGSPA, and we're locally here. We're involved in Chamber of Commerce. In Mitchell, we're involved in the Chamber of Commerce, or the Mitchell Area Development. And so be visible, be vocal. Let your customers know who you are through your community. Always have a passion for what you do. Keep it fun. I think those of you that know me probably know that I'm not probably lacking anything there. So to me it's fun coming to work every day, and it's a passion after all these years that really hasn't changed and hasn't let up. For your work, showcase your work with pride. Take pictures, stuff you do. If you're in distribution, work with your customers, get pictures of their jobs. Show your stuff off, no doubt, and then help potential customers find you. This is something I'm learning as a baby boomer. We've got now generations. We've got traditionals, boomers, Gen Xers, and millennials, and you have to remember you're working with all those groups. They're all your customers, and if you feel like you've got your base customer is a baby boomer and they're not really on a web presence, don't be fooled by that. They are. And if they're not, believe me, their Gen X or millennial children are. And so be aware of that. Social media is important. and there are influencers all over, and it's the simplest, best way of advertising. But that's not the only advertising. That's the only thing I'm saying. But use that and use it wisely. So keep that in mind. That today I say that not having a good, solid website for your company, no matter how small, is like not being in the yellow pages in 1970. And so websites are very important, and advertise your website. So strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Kind of mix in some of ours in with some of what should maybe trigger you a little bit. Our biggest asset is our employees. No question, hands down, no argument. I always tell people we arguably build the best product in the business. I can argue that and debate that all day with my competitors if we were put on a debate stage. Okay, what's not debatable is we have the best employees. We're certain of that, and we work towards that. I feel that I can, when I travel and I'm gone out of here for 2 or 3 weeks, I'm not a bit concerned that the culture of this company changes at all. It does not. It's part of all of us. And so, you build a loyal, talented, diverse team. Invest in your employees and help with job continuation, help them to grow inside their job. Carry quality products, work on customer retention. So those are strengths that I think maybe we have that you have as well. Weaknesses are education. I just mentioned that, train employees, we need to do it more. We need to communicate better. Advertising is one of our weaknesses because I use the term guerrilla warfare. We have very few dollars, so when we spend money on advertising, it's like a single shot out of the brush. We've got to hit our target. We don't have time to reload. We don't have the funds to do that. As a smaller company, we have to be very careful with it, and most of you are in the same position. And opportunities, I say keep enemies close and work together to grow. If you're a heating cooling contractor, don't ignore your competition out there. Have coffee with them. Sit down and talk to them. Know about them. Know who they are. Know what makes them tick. It doesn't hurt to be cordial with them. And we're less than 2% of the market. We're 1 to 2%. So opportunities are to be lean and mean. We feel that way with us. We're always trying to find ways to improve with less, and also to strengthen our position. And again, education, that's an opportunity, continued growth inside of there. Threats for us were culture loss and growth. That was one of ours. Customer retention is always one. I think that's one you deal with as well. In culture loss, when we went from basically 20-some employees to Enertech to adding Hydron modules to adding up to 120 employees, you can imagine the culture changed there. And one tidbit that I do is I use it as a little bit of comedy, but I'm serious about it, is all employees that come in have to sit and listen to me for a half hour, maybe about something like this. And it's the Enertech world according to me. And what that is it's just a brief history of our company, who we are, but kind of what we expect. We expect employees to say hi to each other, to be cordial, make somebody smile that day. Say please and thank you, the basics. We operate inside of a family environment, and we want employees to feel that way, that this is a family. And sure, you're going to have in a bigger company, you're going to have certain silos, just creates it in departments. But overall, I can proudly say that our employees really mix together well, and we have a lot of fun together. So make sure your employees know your culture. Make sure they know who you are and what you expect, and keep it fun. So create a plan annually. Always know what you're doing. You have to have a budget. If you don't have a budget in your company, and I know it doesn't matter how small you are, if you're your business owner and you're your only employee, it doesn't matter. You should still have a budget, because if you fail to plan, the old saying, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail, and you don't want to do that. You want to have controlled growth. Maybe you want to grow, maybe you don't. Maybe you're happy exactly where you're at. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 employees, and that's where you want to stay. Or maybe you're at 8 employees and you want to double your business in 5 years. You have to have a plan to get there, and it has to be controlled growth. I'll have to say that ours wasn't very controlled in 2008 and 2009. It was it was a lot to learn from, and we did. But also create attainable strategies. We found out in the past that there's times that we didn't really have an attainable path for that strategy. We had great ideas, but we had an end game, but we didn't have the real path to get there, and that's one thing we've learned from. Reinvest training for yourself and your employees. HVAC technicians are smart, no doubt about it, but sometimes they can't see the forest for the trees. They need to be brought back up to speed. They need to be reminded. They need that time to kind of have put back into their mental game of what is important or certain ways to troubleshoot and all that. So keep that in mind. We came up with Geothermal University to help with that. We've got online training. We've got training around the country here at Greenville and Mitchell. So training is very important, and that's one thing we sometimes still lack on, that we got to get ourselves back up and going. So marketing your company. What's your competition doing? Like I say, find out a little bit about them. Find out what's working for them. It never hurts to stay a little closer to your competition. So we really don't mean enemy by that. I mean, it's your competition. So keep that competitor close. Keep your eye on the prize, and by that we mean working in your business or versus working on your business. Okay, take the time to work on your business. Empower your employees. Like I said, I can leave here be traveling for 2, 3, 4 weeks almost solid, and I know that things are being taken care of here. Customers are being handled properly, and good customer service. We empower our employees. Make sure you can do that with your employees and bring them up to where you can. I'm one of the worst at working in the business versus on the business. I do love to work in the business. I love the technical aspect, the design, being out with the customers, and that sometimes takes away from working on the business. But I believe there's a balance. It can go hand in hand. Business coaching. No business is ever the same. Hopefully what we've talked about here this morning, and probably taking too much of your time, but what we've talked about is things that can work, or points you can take with you about your business, whether some of you have joined in that aren't even in the HVAC business at all, and maybe there's something you've gained from this. But no business is the same, and you have to figure out your path. It's not easy coaching, and it's not easy running a business. It's very difficult, and each one is unique. For those of you that are heating and cooling contractors, some of you are in focus groups, and I hear how well those focus groups work, where you're involved with companies about your size in other locations, so you don't feel you're opening up to a competitor, but you're opening up to a peer, and feed off of each other for ideas and concepts. Personalities are different. Focus on the strengths of all, and we try to do that here. In Lincoln's cabinet, he had quite a diverse group in his cabinet. They were all pretty headstrong in their thoughts and beliefs and directions they thought they should go. But the end result of that group was that they came together to resolve, finish, and walk out the door unified. And that's what you need, no matter how large your company is, small or big. That's what one thing you should look at and look to gain or to attain, is that everybody's walking in the same step together. Very important. So with that, I know I've taken enough of your time, and I appreciate you joining us, and I hope you've learned something from this, and I think we'll open it up to any questions out there.
Great, thanks, Steve. Okay, so we've got a couple already here, and we'll see if we get any more while we're answering these. So I think this is a big one, but we'll go ahead and look at this one. Selling Geo, what about if we don't get a tax credit?
Very good question. Matter of fact, I meant to cover that in the presentation. If there is not a tax credit, which it could, we could still get one, but it may not happen yet this year. It could happen in the first quarter of next year. So we're still fighting very hard for that. If we don't get a tax credit, What I've mentioned, I was called into a focus group in New York. The state of New York is wanting to promote geothermal very heavily, and they wanted to know, how to control costs, how to get the costs down, how do we get geothermal out there. And I told them, well, the one thing they're still missing in the basis is that most people do not install a geothermal system because they never knew about it. They never had the opportunity to make the decision. If we could get to every potential customer out there that is going to install a heating cooling system that geothermal might be the right answer for them, I believe our business will grow even without a tax credit. We need a better economy, a growing economy. Fuel prices are down, they're down below what we call reason, way below the norm. That's tough to sell geothermal in. But keep in mind, $2 gas is not going to last forever, and a heating cooling system lasts a long time, and geothermal lasts longer, and the loop lasts forever. So we firmly believe, because that passion hasn't slowed down, we sold more geothermal. Our years were better without a tax credit. Actually were. We were with a better economy, and I'll call normal fuel prices, energy prices, we actually did better with a stronger economy versus a weaker economy and a tax credit. So I guess my takeaway for you is promote geothermal even when they don't ask for it. You'll be surprised at the number of people that will buy it. Educate them. Be a consultant. Don't just give them a bid on a heating cooling system. Consult them, educate them, and you'll be surprised they're not going to take the cheapest price.
Great, thank you. Okay, well, here's the next one. I feel this kind of even falls in line with diversifying a little bit. What is Enertech doing to enhance the commercial product line offerings for geothermal or water source heat pumps?
Another good question. For a number of years, we found ourselves in a little bit of a jam as far as product offerings. Because of the Energy Star tiers back in 2009, 10, in that range, we found ourselves playing catch-up for a number of years. We came out with the XT and the YK in residential. It allowed us time after that to get back into the commercial side. So over the last 2 years, two and a half years, we have released, actually less than 2 years, I guess, we've released the compact commercial series. And now the ZSZT horizontal series. We are entering and engaging in the commercial market multiple times over what we were before. So we went from kind of dabbling to now we're full on with a commercial product line.
All right. And the next question we have here is, can anyone reach out to Steve for follow-up questions? I'm assuming this would be after the webinar and on down the line at any point.
Absolutely. I'm available at any time, and whether it's by phone, personal visit, I love to sit and talk to people about what did work for us, maybe what can work for them. One thing I can say is that I really can't think of anything I ever came up with on my own or that I invented. I learned from other people, and so I'd be glad to share what I've learned from other people and do that with you. Great.
Well, thank you very much. One thing that I would say to everyone out there is, please, if you're not already an Enertech customer, please give us a try. And going back to those referrals, we'll give you our phone number, the phone numbers for our other customers who'd be glad to speak with you. And we challenge you to give us a shot. Give our inside sales department a call. And actually, everybody in that department's in the room right now, and we'd be glad to help you with any questions and do everything we can to earn your business. So I'll give it back to Steve here one last time and let him close out for us. And everybody, thank you very much.
Again, thank you all for taking the time. I know I took more than we were supposed to, but it's been fun kind of telling you a little bit of our story, what's worked for us. So we wish all of you a very happy Thanksgiving, a Merry Christmas, and a happy and prosperous New Year. Thanks again.